I'm a SAG actor. I've worked, I do SAG films and SAG work, and this film is during the strike. And the only reason I can talk about it is because it's an indie film and it's coming off on an indie platform, VOD. So if it was on a main platform, I would not be able to talk about it, do interviews. So I think it's just interesting right now that I'm able to bring this up and talk about it.
Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm talking to Diane Franklin, the star of Waking Nightmare, which is coming to digital on August 18th, 2023. I'm going to talk to her right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll sell a lot. Thank you. So thanks so much for joining me. Today I've got Diane Franklin, the star of Waking Nightmare, which is coming to digital on August 18th, 2023. It is a film about someone who sleepwalks and is trying to kind of get over it, but I don't know if they want to because there are some pretty terrible things that happen while they're doing it. I really enjoyed your performance in this. I'm really excited to talk to you, so thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you saw it. Yes, I don't know if you've seen my previous work. In the 80s, I was an 80s actress. I did Bill and Ted's, Better Off Dead, The Last American Virgin, Amityville 2. And the interesting part is this role, you have never seen me. I've never been in a role like this. This is like you're going to be surprised. So if you want to keep me in those other images, just watch that. Don't watch the film. If you do watch the film, yes, it is about a girl who has she is played by Shelley Regner, who is in Pitch Perfect, excellent actress. We had some intense scenes together, and it's about a girl who is sleepwalking. I play her mother, and she's been sleepwalking her whole life, but now the cases have been growing, and I have to share this with the audience. This is really important. This is not a polished film. This is a true indie. I mean, even the credits are surreal, and you're seeing it from the perspective of Shelley's character, who is sleepwalking, my daughter's character, and it's trippy. So it's not something you all expect. I really like the feeling of the movie. It keeps you off balance. It's not like anything you've seen before. I feel like it's a true indie. And my part is, I have to tell you, it's surprising. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's definitely you'll feel differently. And by the way, I will share this with you. I'm a really nice person. So just putting that out there. No reason.
Yeah. Well, it's always fun. You always hear about those Disney kids that like grow up and then they have to like take on a different role to change like what they're known for. Yes. I love how now you are trying to like try some different roles, try on some different characters now that to get past like your 80s persona that everyone knows you for. I mean, everyone knows you from the 80s films. It's it's kind of iconic, so it's fun to see you kind of like stretch your wings, I guess, or kind of grow your acting persona.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, look, once when you're younger, people see you, it's like you're part of their childhood, like, or your teen years. You watch somebody and it's like, oh my gosh, I grew up with that person, and you don't necessarily want to change that. You don't want to keep you want to keep that image, and I totally respect that, and that's totally cool. For the new generation who's seeing this film, and obviously Shelley plays my college daughter, which I think is really cool, because usually there'd be a teen daughter or a like young daughter, but because she's a college age, I think she'll identify a lot with people of that age. And I think people will really understand sometimes when a parent is protective, but also sometimes makes wrong decisions. Sometimes the parent will make a decision they think is right, but not necessarily the right decision. So I think that that's a very interesting part of the story as well, if you get into it. But I am protective of my daughter. So I think that's something that's true if you have a child, is you get protective. And I have my own kids. My daughter, very quickly, she actually, in the last scene of the film, we actually had her do a scene, and it's not in the film, but I had my own waking nightmare within this film. So
wow.
Believe me, this is my own challenge. This film has a lot of levels for me. I almost didn't do interviews for it because of my experience with her, but with my daughter, it was not a good one. But I shared this with you because I talked to her about it and she said, Mom, go ahead and do this. And I think that makes her a bigger person, and she's quite the professional. And but anyway, all I can tell you is I loved working with the other actors. Excellent job. We had a wonderful time. So I think people will be surprised about this film.
That is awesome. And I just wanted to correct one thing, as a parent myself also, a parent's decision is always right. It's never wrong. I mean, it's always the right decision.
Oh, I forgot that one. Yeah, that's right. That's correct.
That's so how you maintain order.
yeah, you might understand that. So yeah, might be a different feeling then. But yeah, or she just had unfortunate experiences. But yeah, so it's definitely a film that is, if you see it in the right way, you're going to really enjoy it. I think. I don't know. Yep. You can tell me what you thought about it.
I think your characterization of this is like a true indie film is right. It does have some rough edges, but like there is some unique aspects about it. Like I loved the kind of psychedelic opening, because I was like, I don't really know where this is going, but it is definitely eye-catching. It's definitely like drawing you in. So there's a lot of things like that where it's like it's unconventional in some of the things that it does, which is kind of a hallmark of an indie film.
Yeah, and I really liked the relationship with Shelley and her best friend. I liked her best friend. I thought it was really cool. She's a very likable character, a likable girl, and I don't know. It just felt like it exists in the world somewhere, and I think it was just kind of a cool thing to see different generations, my generation, and then Jamison Newlander. He plays my husband, and we have a really nice chemistry together. I feel like our relationship in the film is offbeat, but real. And I really like how we balance each other, and he balances the film as you will experience. So we take a deep breath with him. So I think it strikes in the reality. Somebody was talking to me about how films, like how real is this? And obviously it's from the perspective of the girl, her experience of it. And often we say, like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's going on? Like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And I think as a young person, you want to say everything is fine. But then obviously you affect different generations, different people around you, and you realize, wait, this is not normal or fine. Normal is a wrong word. I think just like I shouldn't ignore it. I should pay attention to sometimes things. So I think it's a thought-provoking film, and I'm excited for you to see what I do. I'm excited.
Finally coming out. So I'm actually kind of curious. So the copyright on this film was 2018. So was this film made like pre-COVID, like 35 years ago, before the COVID times? Like what was this?
I think it was made 2016 or 17. Oh wow. Which is really interesting, because I've been also asking the filmmakers, when is this coming out? When is it coming out? Because I was really excited. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to freak out. I was like, how are people going to see this? It's definitely, we'll see what happens. We'll see where my roles lead and what's going to happen. But it's definitely exciting as an actor to play this part. I think, please, people, I'm telling you, this is not something like you've ever seen before. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. And yeah, you're right. It is a true indie film, because that is another hallmark of some indie movies, where they'll be filmed and then like stuff happens, production happens, they don't have money for editing, so then it just kind of goes into like the ether for a few years. In this case, it came into the ether for like 8 years or something like that.
Yeah, so. No, I probably made a record of film not coming out. I mean, I think what I was really happy about is that they eventually did decide to put it out. And again, like, look, I'm a SAG actor. I've worked, I do SAG films and SAG work, and this film is during the strike, and the only reason I can talk about it is because it's an indie film and it's coming off on an indie platform, VOD. So if it was on a main platform, I would not be able to talk about it, do interviews. So I think it's just interesting right now that I'm able to bring this up and talk about it.
I was going to ask about that, because I wasn't sure, but I was like, yeah, you probably know the rules. So if you're talking to me, it's probably fine. But that's very fascinating. And that's again a strange coincidence for it coming out now and having this specific set of circumstances that allows you to do press for it. That is interesting.
Yeah, no, because obviously the goal of the strike is for everyone to be when other people are making money, everyone needs to be getting a fair share. And honestly, like, an actor does something and then they move on, but and as does everyone does a job and then they move on. But the difference is that actors don't have a guarantee of employment, and they live, in order to do what they do, they need the time to do it. And so they go for auditions, they spend a lot of time doing that. And if you do that, I mean, look, today people are still auditioning and doing stuff. You need to be protected. And I think that's what the union does.
For
so
sure. So I know you have a hard deadline. Just a couple very quick, lighthearted follow-up questions. You can feel free to not answer these, but I try to keep them very answerable.
Sure.
First question is, have you ever sleepwalked?
No, but I sleep move and I sleep talk sometimes.
Oh, interesting.
So,
yeah, well,
no
almost
walking,
there.
though.
Almost there.
Almost there.
When was your last nightmare?
Oh, gosh, that's a good question. I did have a nightmare like last week.
Oh, wow.
And it was very strange. It was probably very mundane, but it was a nightmare. Gosh, I wish I remembered what it was. Anyway.
Well, yeah, if it was scary to you, that it was not mundane, right? Like if it was actually a nightmare, it wasn't. So.
Yeah. I was yeah, I don't know. But I did have recurring in my life. Recurring nightmares usually were giant waves.
Oh, wow.
Giant, like, tsunami waves, which I think is, I don't dream of vampires or, werewolves or ghosts. I kind of feel more comfortable with that. But the giant tsunami is probably like an environmental fear,
Yeah.
So
you're dreaming about real problems, not imaginary things, real things. Exactly.
Yeah.
And the last question is, have you ever woken up anywhere like surprising, like not where you expected, or maybe like woke up and forgotten like you had gone somewhere else?
Well, that's a great question. Absolutely. It has to do, a lot of times that happens with me when I'm traveling a lot and like from one place to the other. And I think I'm one place and then I go, oh, wait, where am I? Just very confused. I think all the time that happens. And it is disconcerting at certain points. Yeah, it is a little bit like, wait, what's happening? Where do I go? But I'm a pretty easygoing person, so I can go with the flow. And I go, oh yeah, I'm here. Okay, fine. Oh wait, I fell asleep in my car. Okay, wait, I'm here. I'm in my car, right?
Oh wow, yeah. Well, I mean, that's your busy life, right? Like, I'm glad that you're able to kind of go with the flow, but I can imagine that being disconcerting. Well,
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. This is Diane Franklin. She's a star of Waking Nightmare. It's finally coming out on VOD on August 18th, 2023. You can check it out in the comfort of your own home. Just make sure to get a good night's sleep beforehand because you might not sleep after this. Thank you so much for your time.
I completely agree. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. That was Diane Franklin, the star of Waking Nightmare, which is coming to digital on August 18th, 2023. It is a suspenseful horror film that deals with someone that is having trouble sleeping and maybe doesn't want to because of the things that are happening around her. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.